Good morning. It is Thursday the 11th, I believe, and I'm planning on going to the library today, and also I will go to a Red Cross secondhand to see if I can find some books. I haven't been there before, so I don't know if I will find anything, but I will go anyway. And I've reserved some books at the library. I haven't done that before, so I don't know exactly how that works, but I'll go there and see if I can find my books. And yeah, that's the plan for today. I already did some yoga and ate, and now I'm drinking my tea. And yeah, I'm planning on having a nice slow weekend. Mom was like, "Are you sure you can ride the bike in the snow?" I was like, "Oh yeah." Okay, I'm super tired. This is a snowstorm. I'm so tired. Let's go home. Hello. I am back from my little book count. As you can see, my cheeks are still very, very red because it was storming outside. It was snowing, it was super windy, and I just had a very, very hard time, especially because I took my bike both to the secondhand and to the library. But anyway, so this is the results. Most of the books are in Swedish because currently I live in Sweden, and well, the library just didn't have all the books I wanted to read in English. Although I do prefer reading in English for some reason. I don't like reading in the other languages that I speak. But anyway, here I am. I'm going to talk about the secondhand books that I got first because I'm very, very excited about one of these books. So these are the books I got under Milkwood, the Novice, and Guess Who. I don't know much about the first book. This is really short. It's Under Milkwood by Dylan Thomas, and it's supposed to be a very, very funny story that was originally written for BBC Radio, and it's supposed to be a story played in a Welsh fishing village. So we'll see how this goes. I'm excited about reading this one as well. The second book I got is The Novice, which is the first book of a trilogy. Anyway, it's a series, and this is written by Taran, Matharu, and I've never read books like this, some kind of like fantasy demon books. I have no idea what this one is about, but because it was so cheap, it was like 50 cents, I decided that I would give it a go. The last book that I'm super, super excited about is Guess Who. Actually, the first time I didn't really look at it. I was like, nah, I don't know, that's some weird book. Like, I didn't even take it out from the bookshelf. But then I was like, hey, hold on. because it has like keys on it and stuff. And I was like, hey, hold on, let's just look at it. Like, what is it about? And this sounds super interesting. I'm just going to read from the cover. It says, 1 room, 5 suspects, 3 hours to find a killer. So, these are the books I bought, and I'm very excited about reading these as well, but for now I'm just going to put them to the side. And I'm also going to talk about the books that I'm hoping to read this week, and I'm hoping to read these 3 books. 2 of them are in Swedish and 1 of them is in English. So the one in English is The Power of Habit, and a very, very special person in my life recommended it to me. I mean, I was kind of planning on reading it anyway, but now I just decided to really read it, give it a go. And yeah, so this is a book about habits and why we do what we do in life and business. And then the next book is in Swedish. The title in English is Eating Animals, and it's supposed to be a book about why we eat some animals and don't eat the other animals, and then a little bit about different food cultures, because in some cultures people eat, as an example, cats and dogs and like some kind of eyes and stuff, and in other cultures that is just horrible and disgusting, and they eat, I don't know, pigs and cows and whatever, chicken. And the last one is Norwegian Wood by Haruki Murakami, and I've seen this one a lot around BookTube, so I just decided to read it. It's supposed to be about a love story in Tokyo. I don't know much about it, but it's supposed to be a very, very good book, so I'm excited about reading this. And now I'm planning on getting some food and then just reading a little bit. So I'm now done reading the first 37 pages of Norwegian Wood, and I would say that it's going a little bit slow because this book is in Swedish and I'm not used to reading in Swedish. In the first 37 pages we meet I think the main character of the book, Doro, and also I don't know if it's one of the main characters of this book or not, but a girl named Naoko, who is Doro's friend, and there's also a little bit talk about one of Doro's friends who committed suicide, and we've also read the first kind of beautiful quote by Haruki Murakami, which is, "Death is not the opposite of life, but an innate part of it." So that's where we come this far. It's a good book. I enjoy reading it, and I love that it's describing so many different things. It's describing the life in a dorm room. It's describing just everything, and in a way that just helps me really get into the story, and I love it so far. Jag kysste henne och la försiktigt en hand över hennes mjuka bröst. Hon tog tag i min styva kuk. Hennes öppning var varm och våt och hon ville ha mig. I'm not going to translate that. It's nighttime now and I've read like 116 pages of Norwegian Wood so far. I'm super tired. I just finished watching A Fortunate Man, which is a very, very good movie. And, well, here is the book. I think I'm going to try to finish this tomorrow, actually. And here you can see some red, pink stuff. So anyway, at least in the first 100 pages, there has been a lot of sex, a lot of girls and sex and stuff. This main character has sex with so many different girls, and it's just a wonder that he hasn't gotten a sexual disease yet or gotten anybody pregnant yet. But anyway, I'm going to see, maybe I will read a little bit more before bed. But yeah, I don't know. Anyway, good night.
I know where I'd rather be tonight. I know where I'd rather be tonight. Playing with fire with you. Playing with fire with you. I'm tired of being in love and on my own. I'm tired of being in love and all alone. So I'm playing with fire with you. I'm playing with fire with you.
I'm going to be honest, the Norwegian Wood, it's kind of hard for me to read it. Right now I am almost done. I have like 30 pages left. But this I don't know what to say. It's hard to read. Okay, so it's almost 3 a.m. now and I'm super tired, but I finished reading Norwegian Wood and I don't know what to really say about this book, because I think one thing that describes it best is, you know, when sometimes people talk about some kind of dishes, then they say that you take one bite and you can feel all these different tastes. It's like sweet, it's sour, it's, I don't know, whatever, everything in one, and that's what this book is. It's just everything in one. I would say that I like the book. I really, really enjoyed reading it. I would say it's kind of like a YA book, I'm not sure, but I haven't read those in a while, so it was nice to read one. I loved the details in this book. It was super, 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 super detailed. I don't want to spoil the book to anybody, but this book is just wow. It's a roller coaster and you just don't see it coming, I guess. And this book gets you hoping, and at some points it was kind of hard for me to read it. I did tear up a little bit. The last thing I'm going to say is that this book is written in first person, I believe, if that's called it. So anyway, we are following this guy named Doro, and he's like 19, 20 years old. And actually I think this story is about him in the future, kind of looking back to his teenage years. What do I want to say? I feel that this book is very, very realistic. It definitely handles the problems that teenagers have in the world. All the like growing up, I don't know, finding stuff out about themselves. Not exactly that in the book, but I mean all the like sexual stuff, all the personality stuff, all kinds of problems, suicide, death, love, I don't know, sex. There was a lot of sex in this book. Everything was written out in so many details, and I personally loved that because I don't know, I just like details, I guess. There's so much one could say about this book and the characters in this book. There were points where I was like, wow. There were points that just made me sad and tear up, and there were points that I hated. There were characters that I didn't like at all. It's just full of so many different emotions, and you get to live through them. Okay, now I'm going to go to bed. I might read a little bit from the Eating Animals. I don't know, I'm very, very tired. This guy's grandma is just a comedian. I don't know. Hello. I have a little friend in my pants. But anyway, now I'm done reading Eating Animals, and it was a very, very good book because I find that it talked about all these different points of views. It talked about the vegetarian and vegan point of view. It talked about the people who work in the slaughterhouses, their point of view, and just about lots of different viewpoints. And it also talked about the vegans, I think, know this, that people usually talk about like, oh, why do you go vegan? And then the biggest kind of three categories or reasons are the environment, the animals, and then their own health. And this book is basically based on that. It starts with the animals, then it talks a little bit about your own health, and then it talks about the environment and the animals as well. And it's just a book that really doesn't tell you to go vegan or vegetarian. It just provides you with information that the society is hiding from us, because that is what is going on in the world. We have no idea what's going on in slaughterhouses, and most people can't make the connection between the meat on their plate and the animal that they are eating. I'm going to talk a little more about this book, some certain like topics and stuff in this book, and if you want to skip that, then here's the time. But anyway, so it talks about dogs first, and I can't believe it. I read a recipe on how to make dog, like how to make a dish out of a dog. And then it talks about fish after the dogs, about how the fishing nets are super big, and when they fish in the sea, then so many different kinds of fish get stuck, and then they are just killed and thrown back into the sea. And it says that for every half kilogram of shrimps, 13 kilograms of other sea animals have been killed and thrown back into the sea. And then it talks about how we use food and light to make the best out of the animals, so that we could get more meat, more eggs, and stuff like that as fast as possible. And it also talks about how even if people say that, oh, something is free range or ecological, then actually that is just lies, because in order for some eggs to be free range, and like for chickens to be free range, it's enough if they just have a little small like window or net window or something like that, so that they can see the sun, and that's it. It talks about KFC, which claims that they really know where their chicken comes from and that it's humane and all that stuff, but actually in those little chicken farms, or they are huge chicken farms, about how the chickens are treated, that they spit tobacco in their eyes, spray paint their eyes, and like step on them and all that crazy stuff. When it comes to health, then it talks about how animals are fed so much antibiotica and all these different drugs and stuff, and like their genes are all mutated so that we could benefit from them. And it says that these days so many little kids are allergic to so many different things, and that they have asthma and are just super sick all the time, and that comes from the food we eat. And there's no wonder there. If we eat all the stuff that has been put into animals, then what can you expect, really? And when it comes to chickens, then it also talks about when they are killed, then they are put in this cold bath thingy, and the water is all super dirty and full of poop and everything, and they are just put in there. And that means that all the infections and everything spread, and then later on we end up eating them. And there's this guy named Robert Webster who made some research and found out that all the viruses in the world, they come from birds, from eating birds. And on page 132, there's this little text about that a new pandemic will come, and that every country will be affected, and that the medicines that are available to us isn't enough, and lots of death will come, and that the economy and society will fall apart. And I think that that's really kind of what has happened now with the coronavirus. And I think it's very interesting that they say that all the viruses start from birds. So did the coronavirus come from a bird? Like from us consuming birds? Is it somehow connected? Is the coronavirus somehow connected to all of this? About Antibiotica, it says that in a normal animal fabric in the USA, Antibiotica is given to animals with every meal. And when it comes to health, it also talks about that there has been lots and lots of research. It turns out that being vegan or vegetarian is actually very, very good, and that it has lots of positive sides, and that also people these days talk a lot about protein. It says that actually vegans and vegetarians get more than enough protein. Research has shown that animal protein is actually bad for you. And then it talks about how animals are treated in just farms and slaughterhouses, and about how female cows are given hormones and stuff so that they could get pregnant, about how chickens can't just do anything anymore themselves. And it's also talking about how young pigs, like after they are born, how they cut off their tails and their some of their teeth and their testicles, and they don't give any anesthesia to them, and just all this horrible stuff about what life is like in a slaughterhouse, about how animals get slaughtered, and about some of them being alive. For some, the anesthesia and all the electric shocks and stuff that they use don't work, so they are killed. They can feel everything, they know what's happening, and how it's just horrible. And I know that you can see lots of videos and stuff of this on the internet, and then you can decide for yourself. There was a lot of talk about how people are lying about how bad it is in a slaughterhouse, but I honestly still think that it's bad. Even if some places maybe are a little bit friendlier and more humane, it's still not right in my opinion. But anyway, this book, I think if you don't know anything about this topic, then it will show you some things, open your eyes a little bit. But I already knew pretty much everything in this book. It's worth a read, and I'm sorry I've been talking for so long, but okay. I'll go to sleep and I'll start reading The Power of Habit tomorrow. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm now on page 97 of The Power of Habit, and I'm going to end this little vlog here. I had a very, very nice time reading Murakami, and I also enjoyed reading Eating Animals. And when it comes to The Power of Habit, I really, really like this book so far. It has lots of examples. It has drawings that explain the theories in this book, and it's just easy to read, and you get a lot of information on how to change your habits and just how habits work in general. And yeah, I really recommend reading this book. And you, my little bookmark, are being super loud. Anyway, I really recommend reading both Norwegian Wood and Eating Animals and The Power of Habit as well. Okay. I'll see you next week. Bye bye.